All right, so Douglas Finance Committee, October 28, 2025. I've heard from Howard and Rob. Howard can't make it. Rob might be late. I haven't heard from Mike, but let's just go around the table and identify ourselves, starting with Ryan.
Ryan Hogan.
Heather Moore.
Sandy Kuipers.
Dick Vandenberg.
Lynn Mazzoli.
Carol Gogolinsky.
So we have our quorum, and we're going to take things a little out of order on the agenda so we can have Mike Fitzpatrick of Capital come to the table. If everybody would look at Article 4 of the warrant.
Hey.
Do you want to just answer questions, Mike, or do you want to give us a little overview of what's going on here?
Everybody pretty much knows it, but I might as well at least explain it a little bit.
Okay.
So there's 3 different items on the capital budget for this year. One was to increase the funds for the HVAC that was going to go in the future storage area down in the locker rooms in the gymnasium. When it went out to bid, they were off. The lowest bid was about $2,500 more than what we had anticipated. So we're proposing to increase that budget by $4,000. That's for the ductless replacement, ductless HVAC for the historical record area down in the gymnasium. Any questions on that? No?
Anybody for Mike? Okay, Mike, carry on.
Okay. The second thing is the Highway Department hot box and associated costs. The associated costs would include 2 different compacting pieces of equipment. One a compactor plate, the other one called a jumping jack, and it's exactly what it looks like, a pogo stick on steroids. Their current hot box is about 50% of the life of that. And the highway superintendent had requested this. It would enable him to send out 2 crews versus sending out 1 crew with the hot box and 1 crew doing cold patch, which cold patch doesn't last very long. It's just a waste of money. So that's about it on that. Anybody have questions on that? Roads are an easy thing to get along with, right?
Yep.
And the other thing is the fire department, we had the electrical upgrade in the HVAC, and with that we also had $300,000 that was from ARPA funds. When it went out to bid, so let me back up a little bit. So between the monies that we had put aside for the HVAC and the electrical, it totaled $444,000. It was 2 separate accounts. It was $300,000 from ARPA funds that we had encumbered for that project, and the lowest bid came in at around $992. So we couldn't do the job. So the $300,000 that we had put towards that, we had reassigned it to the Depot Street project, because that any ARPA funds had to be designated into a project by December 31st, 2024. And we weren't going to be able to do that because I had to go back out to bid. So the town administrator took another look at the project, and there's some lack of a better description, reprogramming of the scope of work that'll help reduce the costs. But what we did on capital is we increased the budget to bring it up to somewhere around $1 million to make sure the project could get completed. So working with the finance director, we also took the electrical money from 2021, which was approximately $208,000, and the HVAC $236,000 that was already appropriated for that. We're going to combine them into one description, into one article. So it's for the fire station repairs and improvements, because what happens is if the HVAC ends up being a little bit more and the electrical ends up being a little bit less, if the wording isn't correct, you can't commingle those funds. You have to have it properly worded in order to be able to use it. So by reclassifying the project as repairs and improvements, then all the funds could be used for the project.
Okay, any questions for Mike, anybody? Okay,
With all that stuff I just said.
Yeah.
So between turn back money from, I believe we also have the stretcher on there. I skipped over that one. We have the stretcher that we're going to add for the ambulance. That's coming out of ambulance receipts, $59,694. So you have the turnbacks from the projects, the $208,000 that's going to be moved over into that one classification for the repairs and improvements. What's actually coming out of free cash is $464,000 out of the 905.
right, yeah.
Right.
Okay, any questions for Mike, anybody? So what we'll do in terms of voting on recommending, we'll do this article serially when we do all the other ones, but Mike asked to speak early on in our meeting, so here he is. So anybody else, questions for Mike? All right, Mr. Fitzpatrick, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
So if you look at your agenda, everybody, our first item is BVT. So Anthony and Mark, you guys want to come to the chair? And if you guys would just identify yourselves for the record.
Mark Potter, Douglas School Committee member.
And Anthony Steele, Superintendent Director of BVT.
So I asked these gentlemen to come to our meeting tonight because we're early on in the process of our budget. They're working on their budget, and there are a couple things I wanted to just focus on. The first one is, and I've chatted with you guys about this before, just the tremendous pressures the towns are under with their own income, primarily because of Proposition 2.5. And the fact that if we can give our own people 3%, we're happy with that. So we're nervous about what BVT is going to ask based on that. And then the second part is just for FinCom members to ask you guys questions if they have some. So I wonder, Anthony maybe, or Mark, if you guys could just speak to us about, as you're working on your budget, how are you reacting to the pressures that all the towns are under?
Sure.
Could you speak to that a little bit?
Absolutely, absolutely. So the first thing I would mention, Dick, we met in August, right?
Right.
And so we shared a lot of the thoughts. I think, we had a lot of the similar ideas and also the foundational principles of it. I don't know if you all just saw, happy to share it with you, haven't seen it, the MMA white paper that just came out with
We got it 2 weeks ago.
compression on cities and towns.
This
So
one, you mean?
That's the one. Yep. I thought it was well done.
Yeah.
But it really does a nice job of capturing exactly what the issue is, what the problem is. I can tell you, working with 13 towns, Douglas is not unique in those same pressures for all the reasons listed there. One of the things that is particularly worrisome for us is the fluctuations in Chapter 70, and that would drive your minimum contribution. So last year, last spring, when we came in, we had a 5.7% budget, which is high, not denying that. But that turned into a 10.4% increase for you all with minus, I think it was -1, if memory serves, -1 student. And that, in my opinion, is just absolutely backbreaking, particularly when you put it in the context of that MMA paper there and what towns are going through. So as I was mentioning to Dick in August, that we were going to work very earnestly at trying to make sure that we could come down, with our budget, do things more efficiently, continue to chase external revenues. So we've been very successful with grants and things like that, with ultimately the goal of reducing that additional assessment column in our budget. So common goal, I hear you, understand you, and we've been working exactly on that. Just to recap, the FY26 budget, even if we were at 0% or level, you still would have seen a 5.7% increase. So that Chapter 70 minimum contribution really does worry me. There's things we control, things we don't control, and that's one of them. There are listening sessions right now, and testimony is being received by the state. I'm not sure if you got that memo, but I'm happy to send that along to you. It's upcoming towards the end of the week and month here. But the state is taking in all consideration on how they might amend the Chapter 70 formula. So particularly, I think that would be of interest to Douglas, frankly, all of our member towns. And if that's an appealing, option or opportunity, I'd certainly pass it along if you're not already aware.
Pass it to me and I can share it.
Sure. There's, I think, 5 or 6 different physical listening sessions and sessions for testimony, but there's also going to be a virtual one as well. I will be attending the one that's going to be in Worcester. And so anyhow, there's some things we also didn't previously control was the number of students that come to BVT from different towns. The new lottery system for voc admissions is going into place statewide this fall. And so we took a very thoughtful approach about how we would create apportionment within our system. So there's 26 voc tech schools like Valley Tech. About half of them, Valley Tech is one of them, that does not have apportionment in the regional agreement. The state recognized that when you go to a lottery system, that can be, very erratic. It depends on the number of applicants, and I can tell you that across all 13 towns, the number of applicants, there's a bit of a whipsaw every year. And so if you just went with straight, let's say, roll the drum and pull ping pong balls out of it, you would get an extremely erratic number of students attending year over year. So we knew that was not a good option for us. It would create, chaos. So we set about a system of creating apportionment, which the regulation, allows us to do. We started with looking at the number of school-age kids, particularly 8th graders in each of the 13 towns, and therefore, coming up with an ideal proportion. But we also looked at enrollment trend. So again, using a 4-year rolling average, how many students has Douglas been sending to BVT? We looked at the differential between the two, and then decided to step towards that each year, so that you have some stability and some predictability in what was previously quite unpredictable. In that example, or that model, Douglas is overprescribed by about 50 students, and so you could expect -5 students for the next 10 years in a row. Okay, so I'm not sure that's a great thing. I guess that's a matter of opinion, but basically it's going to start to become one fewer variables in trying to predict the cost of your BVT assessment. I was just here last week, met with Les Stevens' request, and also Matt was here as well. They actually got the first peek at the presentation of how we do that apportionment, and availed myself to say, hey, I'll come back at any point, but perhaps a joint committee meeting between FinCom and Board of Selectmen. So at your leisure, I'd be happy to come back and give you a formal presentation on exactly how that works. I have not yet gone out to all of the towns yet because I'm still waiting for the final approval from DESE. I don't mind sharing with Les and Matt, but the ink isn't dry yet, but we don't anticipate that it's going to change very much. So that's an important factor in our ability to predict. We're in the middle of negotiating health insurance. We've had very favorable health insurance increases over the last 2 cycles, under 5%. It looks like we're going to be continuing with that. So that's a major cost driver that, certainly one thing that I'll say at least partially control. We did close out our books and waiting to get our final certification on E&D. Looks like we'll be about 4%. So that's, healthy, but well under our 5%, cap. So that helps us, also do things, capital projects at the school. We have quite a long list of projects going on at the moment, so that certainly helps make those go. In terms of external revenues, very beginning of the school year, we did successfully get awarded a $1 million grant. That's about $1,045,000 or so to start our CTI program. So that's the evening program for adults. You may have gotten a postcard in the mail, and that's what that's all about.
What is CTI?
That is the Career Technical Initiative, but it's basically evening school designed for adults who are looking to upskill or retrain to basically fill job need in the region. If you make under, I believe it's $57,000 annually, then the state pays the tuition for it for you. So really geared and designed towards underserved populations or economically strained populations that are looking to train. The CTI courses themselves are 200-hour courses with 3 credentials in each, career or industry recognized credentials. Successful program statewide, but a new venture for Valley Tech. So that's pretty exciting on all fronts. We're also doing what I would call, community enrichment type activities, so things like yoga, hoisting 2A licenses, courses, prep courses, and things like that. So what I'm hoping for is that we have a whole new access to BVT from folks that are, not accustomed to coming and working with us or doing things with us. And it generates a lot of revenue. So looking forward to that as a cost savings measure as well. So we did just entering into contract negotiations with our teachers. And so we're hoping for a very, favorable process. We have had good negotiations with our teachers union the last few contracts, and we're hoping that continues and that we can do that in an efficient manner as well. So a lot of things in place already, even though we're just approaching Halloween, that, the big chips that we do control and, getting a handle on some of the things that we previously didn't control should be working towards, or let me say, are all in line with trying to come in with a very reasonable budget request this year.
So Anthony, one concern from some of our FinCom people over the months is if you look at the salary and the benefits of the Valley Tech faculty and staff and compare it to others in the Valley, is it a lot more generous? Can you respond to that, please?
Sure. So one of the things that has always contributed to that is a 195-day year for staff, 193 for students. And that's why I can remember going back, that's over 30 years now since that was put in. Way back when there was, when that was negotiated, there was a per diem escalation on that to match for the extra 15 days over minimum. I was actually just looking at these numbers. Valley Tech is the longest school year in the state by a large margin. This next longest is 188. There's one of those. There's only 9 schools in the entire state that are over 182. And so part of that, Dick, has been the fact that we've been running typically 3 weeks longer than your typical school district, so we've always been a little bit of an outlier that way, proportionately so, but nonetheless, it does, if you were looking at it from that vantage point and didn't realize that there were 3 extra weeks of school there, then you perhaps wouldn't understand that.
How about the percentage that faculty pay say, their healthcare compared to the rest of the valley.
Yeah,
You
yep.
guys in line with that, or a little more generous, would you say?
No, actually, I'd say we're right about average with that. It's a 75-25 contribution for active employees. I was actually looking at that recently, too. You see a span across the 13 towns we serve. Some are at 70. I forget what the low water mark was there. I'm not sure if there's anybody in the 60s. You had Hopedale recently transitioned. They had some at 80, and then they were just recently negotiating down to, I think, 70. So we're kind of in the middle of that pack.
Okay. Mark, anything to add at all about, you're a Douglas resident and a
No.
taxpayer? I mean,
I'm not on the budget subcommittees. I don't sit in the meetings.
Okay.
I go to the monthly meetings. I see what they're doing. I'm making sure they're not spending money foolishly. Something that doesn't go is the self-performed projects that we do in the school and the amount of money that saves. It's just hearing the mini split you guys want to put in a historical center. I mean, those are things that we would do in-house
Yeah.
all day at that school. So those are some of the advantages we have.
There was a few other things I found interesting, Dick, since we last met. Again, I'm preparing for negotiations and just trying to get a good handle on everything statewide. But the last point I checked this, Valley Tech on a per pupil basis was in the top of the bottom third of per pupil costs for comparable Voc Tech schools, so our 26 sister schools like us. I was surprised when I just recently went back that we are tied third lowest in the state on a per pupil basis. So I wasn't expecting that, but nonetheless, that's where we're at. We're at, but that's off DESE's website, so you all can go and take a look for yourself. But that was meaningful to me. I, of course, was wondering, we're not that far off from being the lowest, and that appeals to me. I wouldn't mind being the lowest, but at the same time, we're also the best, and I like that. All right, so I would love nothing more than to have the citizens in Douglas be able to go to the best career technical school in the state and proudly tell you that we also have the lowest per pupil cost out of all 27. That kind of thing excites me. We'll see how I can do with that. I also told you, Dick, that one thing, there's so many moving parts in a budget, but one metric there that really stands out to me is that additional assessment column. Mm-hmm. We can't go lower than that. That's what the state sets as our minimum, based off net school spending and so forth. And last year, we were about $1.8 million over minimum. So I look at that and say, geez, could we do 1.7? Can we walk down to 1.6? Can we? And I look at that almost like a barometer for myself and our team to say, how close, or can we get closer to minimum contribution? Now, schools, honestly, were not designed to run on minimum contribution. It's a, legal minimum. But it is a good measure that I look at to say, could we do things, more efficiently? Could we seek more external funding, more grants, things like that, and ultimately get closer to it? So that's one thing I'm using or gauging as a barometer there. I want to make sure, though, that everybody understands that I am not interested in sacrificing the quality of the education that we're giving your kids. That's not part of the plan. But if I can continue and maintain that quality of education and do it cheaper, I'm all for it. And, Mark's on board with that. Our whole committee is on board with that. The staff is actually on board with that. So I've been, putting out challenges to all parties to see what they can do to run Valley Tech more efficiently, right? And so when I say I think we're on the same page, I think we're on the same page. Another thing that was interesting to me was I looked at the per pupil costs of the 11 school districts that we serve and Valley Tech. So we're about $23,000. And then, I was looking at the average per pupil cost that you all spend on your locals, and we're somewhere around 1.25%. So 20 to 25% higher per pupil in that sense. According to the state, they expect career technical education to be 1.5 to twice as expensive. So I look at the 1.2 and I say, okay, there's another good metric to look at. How, again, without sacrificing quality, we're proud of that, okay? If we can deliver quality career technical education and do it only 20% higher than a regular education cost, then there's good goal material right there. So some of my thoughts. It's early. We don't have a lot of the nuts and bolts yet to build a budget with, but like I say, the things that we do know and the things we do control, moving in the right direction.
Any questions, anybody, for Anthony or Mark? Of a financial nature, Lynn? Go ahead.
When does your health insurance renew?
We should know our number, I would think, in November.
November.
Yeah.
And who's your carrier?
Harvard Pilgrim is the major carrier, and Borslow is our broker.
Okay, and what's your deductible on your plan?
We have a number of these high deductible plans. They've actually become a lot more popular.
So you offer more than one option for?
Yes, several options, yep.
Do you have like an HSA plan?
There is an HSA.
Okay. All right, and what did you say the split was?
75-25.
25. Okay, that's it for me.
Anything else on that, Lynn? Or?
No.
Okay.
I had a question.
Sandy? Yep.
What made you choose 10 years to get that leveling?
That's a great question. So when we looked at that delta of, how far off a community was from what I call the foundation ratio, or that ideal proportion to what your enrollment trend is, looking at that delta, there are some towns that would be moving, at 8 students a year for the next 10 years. If we doubled it, let's say to 20%, then we'd be, hitting them at 16 students a year for the next 5 years at that point. And so we picked what we thought was a reasonable rate of change, not only for towns from a financial standpoint, and some are going, like I say, +8, plus, et cetera, but also from the respective school systems as well, that if you suddenly had, let's say we didn't do any stepping, and and other folk tech schools did this, they just, hey, tomorrow, we're going with this plan, and next thing you know, you got 50 more kids back in your district than you had previously. It's no doubt going to cause staffing issues, be disruptive to the system, and so forth. So we decided to slow that process down based on, the entire look of all 13 towns and its impact to them. Right. Also, from the standpoint of, I'll say the citizens, we also wanted to make sure that we also slowed it down with them in mind as well.
Thank you.
To a reasonable pace.
Thank you.
Make sense, Sandy?
Yes, I would like it to go faster, but that's that's me.
Heather, do you have a
the-
question or not?
Yeah, I do. I mean, so full disclosure, I'm school committee chair for Douglas. So both of my kids, one's in BVT, one has graduated from BVT. So I know it's a great school, right? It's the double-digit increases that kill us, because on the school side, we don't offer double-digit increases from the town, right? It's a phenomenal school. State spending, we're in the lower bottom for public school, right, versus a technical. I totally get that. But I think the appreciation is most of our towns, the 13, are going through financial hardships. And if we can be more mindful of that, I think that's something that I need to hear more. The health insurance, I think you're going to be in for a sticker shock. I think it's going to be more than 5%. Just telling you, just based on, and I'm no expert in health, that's that one over there, right? And I don't mean that one over there, respectfully. I'm just concerned because that's going to be levied back to the towns, and that is not sustainable, the health insurance. And I know you're going to negotiations, and it's part of your negotiation. I'm also part of the negotiation team for the Douglas school system. So I understand your position. You're in a rock and a hard place. We are one of 13. they're coming to you and pleading with you, provide it's an excellent school, you provide you educate our students really, really well, but be mindful of the other in the high school that don't get the opportunities, because our increase is 3-4%, and you asked for over 10 last year. That's a lot.
Yeah, and that, again, I do hear you, and I hope you hear me as well, that we're, not only agreeing with you on that, but also trying to take every step within our control to do exactly what you're saying. And, that I just want to reiterate, I'm hoping that we can put together a budget request this year at 3% or less. I don't know what you're doing locally, but that's my goal. What I am worried about is that one component we don't control.
Chapter 70.
Yeah, and I'm really nervous about that because
We are too.
that's where that double digit comes from, right? And I encourage you, if you got the time, Dick, or any of you, if you want to attend those Chapter 70 listening sessions.
am.
Yeah, and give them, your opinion on that. I'm not sure, what, if anything, is going to change, but I think it's always worth being heard, for sure. And so, I'm feeling good about our ability to do what I'm saying. What I got to stop short of promising you is I have no idea how Chapter 70 is going to come out with minimum contribution when I show up here in the spring. And I hope I can come in here with my head high and not hiding under the table. All right, but please understand that I do hear you, we hear you, and we're trying to respond to that. And appreciate what you're saying.
The only other question is the recalculation of that 10 years. Is it every 10 years that's going to be recalculated?
No, we will re-examine it every single year.
Every year, okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Can I ask about your evening program?
Yes.
Do you have to hire additional teachers for that? How does that all work?
Yep. So again, this was a $1 million grant from the state.
Okay.
So it runs very autonomously, has its own director, its own staffing. The state even pays for things like the additional custodial services, any security services. So this program is completely funded by 100% by the grant, and in, let me say, other settings has been a revenue generator, not a cost.
All right, so
Okay?
it's not going to cost us as a town anymore.
To the contrary, the schools that have done this have found that they're able to offset their budget because the
Additional revenue?
it's not just the additional revenue, it's purchasing equipment, supplies, materials, and things like that ultimately you don't have to put in your budget. So, I'll just, for a rough number here, say, I would think about 50% of that would be able to be applied to us lowering our budget. That's what I hope. All right, now it's a fledgling. Some schools have been at this for a long time, but no one has entered into this program and had it cost them money. It always has a positive effect.
Okay. What
Right.
kind of programs, what kind of classes?
So the first 5 CTI, those 200-hour credentialed courses, it's welding, machining, electrical, plumbing, and HVAC. We will be adding more after that in future cohorts, and then there are, I believe, 9 of those community enrichment type courses.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, anybody else? Questions or comments? Ryan?
Carol can go first if she'd
All
like.
right.
Well, just have, you've got $1 million grant, but what happens next year?
Yeah, we renew.
But if you don't have, will they give you another grant?
Yes, yes. They basically not only want you to start these things, but they intend for them to be lasting, right, to do both sides, really. Supply workforce with, qualified, trained help, but also, like I said, to serve segments of the population that need the retraining. Aside from the money that they're currently using. This also, in the forward forecast, ties in with the Trump administration's Pell Grants. So they opened up a whole new series of Pels to be applied for workforce training. One of the differences with the Trump administration is that the funds come through the Department of Labor, not through the Department of Education. But the forecast is that those, we have a good long forward look on the funding for this.
Okay, Ryan.
Couple questions about the lottery. So the way you present it, maybe I'm not understanding, is each town essentially have their own separate lottery to a particular number, is that correct?
That's correct. There'll be 13 different lotteries.
Okay. And are you is there still an acceptance system? Is it a lottery of all people students you've deemed as accepted, or any student who applies?
No. And this, again, is something that I think I could go into much greater detail.
We don't have all night.
When I come back out. But basically, I'll try to do this in 2 minutes or less.
Okay.
All right? If you apply, just write your name down and apply. You have one draw in the lottery. As long as you don't have any felonies or expulsions, felony-based expulsions as an 8th grader, you get 2.
Okay.
As long as you haven't missed more than 27 days in the last 270 days, so basically the last school year, you get 3.
Okay.
Okay, and if basically you come to an open house or an information system presentation, you get 4.
Okay.
So I think it's easier because those are fairly low bars. Look at it the other way. Every applicant is going to have 4 draws in the lottery, right? And unless you somehow missed one of those other ones. And basically, yes, there will be a number of seats allocated to Douglas in this example. And you run a random order sort on said list. And you can basically draw the line, let's just say it's 28, right? And then 29 through whatever it is, are on the waiting list. It's not uncommon for, say, number 14 to say, no, I'm not coming, and then you go to the next. So the set is ordered once, and basically we would go down until we were, meeting that number that we set. That's how you get to a predictable, progression towards the ideal ratio, which right now for Douglas would be 70 students at BVT. The other thing to keep in mind is that other things change. So, for example, every year we'll continue to move the 4-year average. So if Douglas is getting bigger, then those seat allocations would go up with your rising population. If Douglas is getting smaller, then the seat allocations would continue to decrease. So it floats with whatever situation is happening with a given town in terms of its population. And ultimately, steps people towards that ideal ratio.
When you say it's population, are you saying it's 8th grade population?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Great.
So like a bigger town like Milford might get more of a stake.
Oh, yeah.
Students,
Yeah, Milford.
because it's bigger than anything else around here.
Yeah, Milford is approximately 18% of Valley Tech, and I think ideally should be about 20.
Yeah.
I think your ideal right now, based on, the 4-year average of your 8th graders, you should be about 5.6%. And so, we're, again, working towards those. But over time, if that number changes, then the system changes with it.
Okay.
All right?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Anything else, Ryan?
Anybody have anything else in the lottery before I move on? Where do we end up on the second stabilization fund? I know you pulled it here in Douglas. Did you pull it in all 13 towns?
No. What Dr. Fitzpatrick did was in towns where he did not have the support from the finance committees, he basically asked for it to be passed over, but we did have the sufficient votes to create it. We did create it, and it currently has $23 in it.
Okay. And how many towns did you pull it from? Pass over it, whatever you want to phrase.
I want to say 4.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that, but I think 4.
Could you send Dick which 4 when you send him the other?
Yeah, sure.
That'd be great.
Sure,
Thank
I
you
can go
very
back and
much.
look that up.
Great, thank you.
Okay?
Rob, you're here.
Yes.
We talked about some of your concerns, but if you want to ask him again and he can answer quickly for your benefit, we can do that in a minute.
Sure. So I guess some of my concerns are, you and I have discussed this before, about the rising cost of education. You know, just in general, what you're going to end up with is a town is going to do basically two things. They're going to have, police, fire, and educate. They're just going to run out of money to do anything else. And there needs to be some sort of cost containment done. And I don't, by any stretch of the imagination, the education provided at BBT is an excellent education. I'm not going to doubt that in any way, shape, or form.
Thank you.
It's one of those things that, I think every single person at this table would love to eat at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, but it's not something we could afford to do every single night. And it's when I look at some of the budget lines at BBT when it comes to salary benefits, retiree benefits, et cetera, they're certainly above what the 13 towns are offering to their own teachers from that perspective. So it seems like there's a higher percentage going to educating a smaller, subset of children that, are able to get into the school. And it's something that, as one of only 13 towns, we have very, very little control over. Being able to do any sort of cost containment whatsoever. And so it's something that, you feel a little bit powerless that you tell us 10%, you tell us it's a 20% increase, you tell us it's a 30% increase. We can all sit here and say no. But, if the townspeople choose not to show up and choose not to debate it and choose not to vote on it, then we're stuck with a 30% increase. And then that means that we've got to find a way to pay for that. We have absolutely no control over it. As 1/13, so to speak, of the, 1/13 of the towns, we have very little control. So I'm just curious what's being done in the name of cost containment.
Briefly.
Sorry.
Well, I would recap what I just said over the last 40 minutes, basically. So you want me to recap all of that?
Well,
I can watch the video if that would be helpful. I can watch the YouTube if that would be helpful.
Yeah, I think that'd probably be better. And then if you have further questions,
absolutely,
you
can
communicate with them.
Time.
But that was kind of what we've been talking about.
Certainly. So I apologize for being late.
All right, anybody else? Anybody from the audience have a comment or question about the Valley Tech budget that's being worked on while you're all here? Anybody? Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming. We appreciate it.
I'll be, as soon as I hear from DESE on the admissions, basically it's legal review. It's already been through our legal review, et cetera. It's a process. But as soon as I hear from that, I will be sending out the overture. If you would like to have us back, we'd be happy to come back and really dive into how lottery works and so forth. So thank you for your time. Appreciate it. And let me know if we can help you in any way.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
Mark, thank you.
Yep.
Good luck in your new job.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody, so if you look at the warrant, that's our next item. And the way we're going to do this is I'm going to actually read the motion, primarily so people watching at home and people here are reminded of what we're doing. And our voting is, again, to recommend to the town meeting. So we're not actually voting on the motion. We're voting, should we recommend the motion or not to the town. So the reason I'm going to read the motion is simply for information for everybody.
And Dick, just as a clarification,
Yeah.
when we are voting on the motion, we're looking at it just from the lens of the financial impact of the
Right.
town, not any personal
Correct.
feelings or anything like that about the particular article. It's just from the financial aspect.
Correct. It's all about the money.
Will it be presented that way in the flyer? Because typically we don't. We just say we recommend.
Well, in general, if it's a real housekeeping thing, like you look at Article 3,
Right.
It's
I'm
money
really
kind of
concerned with the
stuff.
first two, if we just put "we recommend" on there, I'm not sure the message gets through to the townspeople that we're just voting on the financial nature of the article. I would think if I read and didn't know how it worked, that the committee recommends, I would think we'd be recommending the whole proposal.
So 2 weeks ago, we had kind of a consensus that if it didn't have a direct financial impact on the town, we would just pass over it
Oh, okay.
and not recommend one way or the other. I mean, just acknowledge it doesn't have financial
Okay.
and move on.
Is that what we're planning to do with the first two articles?
I think so,
Okay.
but we'll wait till we get to them.
Oh, okay.
All right, so I'll read the motion of Article 1, just again for information for everybody. So the motion is that the town vote to adopt a right to farm bylaw as printed in the warrant. So that's the motion. And as you recall our discussion 2 weeks ago, I think we felt that if it passed the town meeting, it wouldn't have a substantive financial impact on the town. So our consensus 2 weeks ago was that we would probably just pass over it. Any discussion on that or questions, anybody? Okay, is there any objection then to just passing over the first warrant article? Okay, that's what we'll do then. We're just going to pass over. Yep.
So is it fair to put in the flyer, the town meeting, the finance committee makes no recommendation on this article?
Right, that's
Okay.
good.
And I'll also put the reason
Okay.
that, in our judgment, if it passed, it wouldn't have a big financial impact on the town. So I'm going to put that in the flyer, if that's okay with everybody. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Article 2 then. So the motion that will be presented to the town is that the town vote to create an agricultural commission as printed in the warrant. And again, 2 weeks ago, I think we felt that if this passed the town meeting, it wouldn't have a big impact financially on the town. Any more discussion on that, anyone? No. So any objection to passing over Article 2? Okay, so we will do that. We will pass over Article 2. All right, Article 3, the motion is to vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $105,157 to fund various amendments to Article 2 of the annual town meeting of Monday, May 5, 2025, and you see all those numbers listed. Any questions on any of those numbers for our finance director?
I do believe you have to say the increase and the decrease for the total dollar amount. Dick, you do have to read that, correct?
At this stage, though, Heather?
What's that?
If we're making the recommendation of where we're taking the funding from, right, he's supposed to say where the increase is coming from and the decrease?
As long as he says it says listed, I guess, in your recommendation.
Okay.
I mean, you can for the camera.
Is the warrant on the town website? I mean, can citizens log on?
It has been signed by the board, so I believe it will go on very shortly if it hasn't.
Matt, do you know that? If somebody logs on, can they see the warrant or not?
No, I just finished it.
The board signed it last week.
Yeah, I know, but what's it on? Clerk? I have no idea.
Okay.
Okay.
So it will go on, when we go to the flyer, you'll be giving these notices tonight to Lisa tomorrow, so we'll have it on the website after that.
Okay. So any discussion or questions on Article 3, anybody?
I do have a question.
Okay, Jean, you want to come to the table?
Oh, you don't have to come up.
Well, then everybody can hear her.
All right.
The easy questions?
Yeah, I think so. The decrease in the highway wages, how are you going to manage to decrease highway wages?
There was a person that left service, and we're not filling that position.
Really? So we've got less people working in the highway department?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's tough. All right.
No, you went up to 6. Now you're going back down to 5, all in the course of a year. 2 years.
All right. I mean, they were short-handed, but Anyway, if we don't have somebody to work, I guess we don't have a wage, so, and it's probably not that easy to get somebody to work, unfortunately. All right, that was just my question.
Anybody else questions on Article 3, any of those amounts for Jean? The grand total is $105,157. All right, anybody else, comments or questions? Would someone move then that we recommend that the town endorse Article 3 as written?
So moved.
Okay, Sandy moves.
Second.
Second by Heather. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries unanimously, and there are 7 of us voting, right? Okay. Okay, Article 4, we had Mike before us before. I'll just read the motion again for the record. The motion is that the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $464,801.31 and transfer from the following previously approved projects in the sum of $380,904.69 and transfer from ambulance reserve receipts for appropriation the sum of $59,694 for a total amount of $905,400. So any questions or comments at this point? Now, Mike is not here, but for Jean or for Matt?
No.
Okay. Would someone move then that we recommend Article 4 as written?
So moved.
I think Heather got it.
Yep.
Rob,
Second.
seconds, okay. Any discussion on that motion, everybody? Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstain, motion carries unanimously. Okay, I'll read the motion for Article 5. The motion is that the town vote to transfer the sum of $144,000 from water sewer retained earnings to fund the following amendments to Article 6 at the annual town meeting of Monday, May 5, 2025. So that's the motion. Jean, can you give us a little backstory on that?
This is, I know the capital is just, they were purchasing a vehicle and they need additional funds, and the expense, they had a major repair, they're just bringing that budget back up to where it should be.
And because it's enterprise fund, they have,
It does come from retained earnings,
the
so,
money's there, right?
yeah, so similar to free cash gets in the general fund, and then the 2 enterprise funds, they go through the same process, we close the books, and they certify the retained earnings, so it's coming from their closeout.
How much in retained earnings will remain after?
I'll let you do the math, but retained earnings was certified at $1,248,021.
Thank you.
Still have about 1.1 million left.
Thank you. I left my phone.
When she hit $1 million, that was good. I just want to make sure it wasn't 200,000 or something.
Right, any questions on Article 5, anybody?
When you said a repair, that's nothing that was like an insurance claim would need to be filed or anything like that?
No,
It's nothing
no.
of that nature?
No,
No?
no.
Okay.
They had it, it was, I can tell you it was like $30,000, I can't, yeah. But they're just looking, again, they're looking at their budget at this time, similar to Article 2, or Article 3, where we review our budgets at this time of year to see where they are versus budget to actual, and to see what's needed, because we only have 2 bites at the apple. You know, we have the town meeting in the spring, well, 3, town meeting in the spring, this one, and then the spring town meeting. I don't know if I had a... I don't think Mr. Sullivan's online either. There may be other things in here.
Was Bob going to Zoom tonight or not?
I thought he was.
Okay. Anybody else on Article 5 then?
Yeah, don't drive yourself nuts looking for it.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right, would someone move then that we recommend Article 5 to the town meeting as written.
So moved.
Lynn, thank you.
I'll second it.
Second by Carol. Discussion, anybody? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstain, unanimous, 7-0. All right, Article 6, the motion will be that the town vote to transfer the sum of $8,000 from the waterways receipts reserved for appropriation account for the purpose of funding equipment and maintenance repairs pertaining to the dive rescue boats and dive rescue water rescue activity.
Good job.
Matt, can you speak to that just real quick? Just the backstory on that. It's an annual thing or something?
So I'll just
Okay, go ahead.
touch base on this one. So half of the vessel or boat excise goes into the receipts reserve for this account, the waterways. When it gets to a certain level, then the department, in this case the fire department, transfers money to this to continue their training and their dive rescue supplies and any equipment they need to purchase for that. So you won't see it every year, but you will see it every couple years.
Okay, thank you.
And this is
Judy.
strictly based upon like a standard threshold when that's crossed?
Yeah, I don't like to get to it zero, so it's usually
Right.
over, when it's substantial enough where they may be able to purchase a piece of equipment.
Okay.
But, so half of the excise that we collect on boat goes into this account, it sits there, and then we transfer it from there over to an article.
Great. Thank you.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, so Carol moves that we recommend this to the town meeting. Any seconds?
Second.
Lynn, thank you. Discussion, anybody? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstain, motion carries unanimously. Bob, come to the table, will you? So Article 7 is a zoning bylaw amendment, warehouse overlay district. Bob was here anyway, and why don't you give us a little backstory to this, Robert, all right?
Okay, Bob and Eric, Town of Douglas Economic Development, for the record. A client has proposed building a large warehouse, another large warehouse on the Pine properties. The Pine properties, 220 acres, some's in Sutton, some's in Douglas. Current zoning is restricted to a maximum of 60 feet. This building will be approximately 77 feet, just an additional 17 feet. We can go for a height variance, which we're pursuing that on another path. The second path is to create an overlay district, which would be just the Douglas properties, because the Pine properties actually go into Uxbridge and Sutton. So this would just be the Douglas properties where the building would be located for this extra height. And the only difference between all our zoning bylaws and this overlay district would be just the height, the extra height.
What's the zone there, Bob, industrial or commercial?
It's all industrial.
Okay.
And if you notice on the map on the next page, some of those properties extend into residential areas along North Street. This is only the industrial portions of those pieces. And there are a lot, there's 8 properties involved to make up the Pine properties.
So the normal zoning parameters would stay in effect, and it's just adding the overlay to raise the height 17 feet?
That is correct.
Okay.
The reason we're establishing an overlay district is to increase the height, to allow for the extra height.
And that was a request by the applicant, right?
By the
They wanted to
applicant.
go taller.
Yes, the developer who built the cubes already.
Okay. Any questions for Bob, anybody on that?
Is there a specific reason for the extra height?
It's, the client has a plan to build a 3-story building.
So they would need extra space, I guess, on the lowest level, or?
Actually, all levels. They're
All
not,
levels.
3 stories is not the 3 stories that you have in a housing.
Right.
They're only 8 feet high. These are probably 20, 25-foot ceilings for racking.
Okay, anybody else questions for
Yeah.
Bob? Heather?
Where in relation to the cubes is it going to be built?
It's on the Pine site, which is directly across from the Shell station right now.
Okay.
The Cubes is across from the mill.
So when you get your Dunkin' Donuts, Heather,
Well, I can see from my street,
Take a
that's
left.
my house right
Yeah.
there, so I see it when I look out my back window now that the foliage is down, right? So that's why I was just trying to, like, in relationship, where is it? So,
What do you see from your house, if you don't mind my asking?
I see the cubes, I see the solar farm, so, because I'm on Charles Street. I'm this house right here. The
Is
very-
that Oakhurst you're looking at? Solar farm?
Yep, the solar farm's in front of the cubes from my backyard.
Oh, the Bosmas?
Yep,
Oh, okay.
yep, yep. So that's why I was like, where exactly is it going to be? So,
Is that going to be kind of where the concrete plant is?
Where Dauphiné Concrete is?
Where the Pine Garage is now,
Yeah.
that area and continuing on.
back that
And when you say Pine Properties, some of this is not owned by Pine, but they're all together in on it.
Correct. There's 220 acres total, what we think of as
Pine,
Pine.
but they're not.
But Pine only actually owns 55 acres.
Right, right, just so that people.
It's all these
Yep.
other
We're talking about the
lots
right
that
thing.
make
But
up
they're all
the big
together, and
property.
It's an opportunity for us to get more tax revenue.
all right, any questions for Bob, anybody? Any discussion on the motion? Everybody good with what it would do and so on and so forth? All right, would somebody move then that we recommend Article 7 as written?
I'll move to recommend.
Carol,
Article
thank you.
7.
Second.
Second by Ryan, thank you. Any discussion, anybody? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstain.
I'd like to abstain.
Rob abstained, so we have 6 yes, 1 abstention. Okay. So Rob, if somebody at the town meeting asks why one FinCom member abstained, can we
I
give
can
him?
speak to that.
Okay.
Yeah,
You'll be ready?
I'll be ready.
Okay. All right, thank you, Bob. Okay,
thank you.
appreciate it.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
So, as you know, everybody, we send out a voter information flyer to the citizens, and for each warrant article, we have a sentence or two to give a backstory and so on. And I've been working on rough drafts of those, and this is what I wrote for Article 7. So what do you think of this? This article authorizes the town to make changes to zoning requirements for the area near Route 146 and Gilboa Street in order to facilitate economic growth. That sound okay? Is that too spare? Do you need more, or is it?
And tax income. That's about.
The only,
And Carol's taxes, yeah.
the reason why, I'll be honest with you, the reason why I abstained is because it's really not economic growth. There's no jobs, really. I mean, how many jobs is a warehouse truly going to produce?
But it generates tax revenue, though, right?
I understand it generates tax. That's why I didn't vote no.
Okay.
That's why I abstained.
Yeah, Robert?
We have the answer to that question.
come back up.
1,000 jobs.
How many?
1,000 in Douglas? In Douglas?
Well,
The building is all in Douglas, yes.
And it'll be probably from the area, right, the people who work there.
Does that, Bob, that 1,000, does that include like the people working to build it and stuff? Or how did they
No,
come up?
that's permanent jobs.
Employees?
400 to 500 temporary construction jobs.
Yeah. And then there'll be 1,000 permanent jobs?
1,000 permanent, that's what they're telling us.
It sounds pretty good to me.
Okay. All right. Let's carry on, everybody, then. But that's okay for my backstory?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, if you look at Article 8, deed in lieu of tax foreclosure, 87 Gilboa Street, or 67 Gilboa, sorry. Whoop, I got a typo here. So if you're on Gilboa Street, you've left the Shell station, you have your Dunkin' Donuts in your right hand, and you're driving to town, right before you turn left on North Street, there's a little parcel of land right there.
On the right,
On the left.
on the left?
It borders the river
Oh, okay.
and abuts the water treatment plant.
Okay, okay.
So that's that land we're talking about.
Okay.
And
Isn't that owned by the Schuster heirs or something like that?
not sure, but I
That's not the piece?
I looked into just what that means, deed in lieu of tax foreclosure, and this is what I think Cheryl sent me, but I'll just read it to you and see what you think. The acceptance of this deed will extinguish the outstanding municipal taxes and charges on the property. So it sounds like there are outstanding taxes. The parcel will be treated as a tax possession parcel and can be later sold or repurposed by another town meeting vote. So that's what's going on there. Matt, can you elaborate at all, or is that a pretty good summary, you think?
That's pretty good.
Okay.
But that...
Is it this one?
I don't think it's what you're saying.
Is it this one here?
I think there's two parcels there, Carol. I think right on the corner
Right in there.
Yeah, it's...
Here.
is Schuster Air.
Right,
I
right.
think, yeah, there's a house in
As you
here.
go a little bit further along, when you're
I think
more or
it's in there
less
somewhere.
directly in the middle of the water treatment plant, even though it goes straight towards the Mumford River and Gilboa Street, there's another parcel there.
Yeah, it looks like a big parcel, like parcel
I
45.
think it actually wraps, it goes a little bit, it's bigger than that. It's not just the frontage on Gilboa Street.
It goes to the river, it abuts the treatment plant. There's a small section, 45.1, which is not, I believe it's not included. This is only parcel 45, not 45.1.
Yep, correct.
Oh, 45, okay.
What is that 45.1? It almost looks like a road, or is it a pipeline, or what is it?
That's an electrical easement.
Okay, all
Gilboa,
right,
North.
Yeah, there's a house before that easement, too.
okay.
Where's 45?
Now, is there any electric on that easement?
No. Can't be right.
Okay,
45
There
is
was
big.
at one time.
yeah.
Unless I'm on the wrong page.
Well, what's the big one that says 45?
Right here.
Yeah.
That's all the way over here.
Yeah, that's what I'm sitting here shaking my head. 45 is the end of the pond.
Yeah. 45's on the north side of,
I thought we were going down.
oh, here's Gilboa.
We're going down Gilboa, right? And here's
I thought it
North
was
Street.
that one, but,
45
Yeah, I thought it was this one,
on both
too.
sides of the river.
okay, here's the
Yeah.
North Street.
No, I know where it is.
Here's North Street.
Sold from.
45
This is where I live.
And this is
I
North
like
Street, too.
Right.
Here's Charles Street.
Is that what they're willing?
I thought it was,
Is that what they're giving us?
maybe not.
19.
Oh, okay,
Is it still 45, Matt, is that correct?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, I was wondering what everybody was getting to 67 Gilboa for.
Now, does it go all the way
That's Street address.
over to Gilboa?
Where did you see 45? This whole big piece here?
Yes.
Yeah. Does it go all the way
Where the
over
water
to
is.
Gilboa?
Yes, it does.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah,
that
I was thinking it's over here
45.1,
more, okay.
which is odd, because an easement, just an easement over the land. They don't own the land. You can still sell the land.
Right.
So that 45.1 would actually, should be in it. That should be part of it.
Well, I don't think the label applies to the marked easement. I think that label is for the lot. You see it has it's almost like an L shape. Then it goes up to the water, and then it bangs a left back towards Gilboa Street. That's 45.1.
Right, but Bob thought it could be a power line easement.
No, you asked, I think because the number is in the middle of those two lines,
Right,
doesn't mean that that's what's labeled. The easement's drawn on all the way across, but 45.1 is that entire lot.
right.
It's got to be, from this scale, 2 or 3 acres.
Right.
It's got frontage on Gilboa,
Right.
goes over to the pond, comes back, but
Right.
it's unfortunate that the numbers appear in between the two lines. The numbers are not labeling the easement, the numbers are labeling the entire lot. Easement goes
So do you think 45.1 is actually a lot?
Yes.
That's weird.
It was broken off, and there's been an attempt. Isn't that where the car wash dude wanted to go?
Yeah, 45.1.
Yeah.
Okay,
I put
whatever.
it up on the GIS map.
Yeah, when you do 67 Gilboa, it's right at the corner.
So who owns
That's
45.1?
45.
I think both, the same guy owns both of them.
That's your map app there.
It's an
I was
estate,
just
isn't it?
thinking,
I can look it up real quick.
how much do they owe?
Foresight Enterprises in Bellingham.
And they own all of
That's
45?
45.1.
Yeah.
And that is 3 acres.
Okay, well,
45 is the much larger
Yeah.
piece,
That's what I'm showing, Sandy.
which goes on both sides of the river,
Right.
abuts the treatment plant,
yeah,
is basically where the guardrails are on Gilboa Street.
Yeah.
All the poison ivy
Yeah, right
and the
here.
guardrails. 45.1 is
They have
where
it
it looks like
deeper in
there's
here.
piles of bricks
Right,
dumped
yeah.
against the road.
okay.
I'm sorry, which one is that, the piles of bricks?
45.1.
Okay.
On here.
But that
All right.
thing runs like that skinny little thing, and it goes all the way up there, huh?
So is 67 Gilboa Street accurate as a description of parcel
Yes.
45?
This is listed as, 45 is listed as 67 Gilboa.
Oh, okay.
Is this the one that had a sign on it many years ago, like the pile of bricks, and they
Yes.
tried to, is that this one?
I don't think it's this one. This
Okay.
one's the bigger one, which is
Okay.
behind the guardrails.
There was one point, we were looking at property over there, and our lawyer suggested against it because of hazardous waste dumping. Would that be the same?
And that's listed as 65 Gilboa.
Okay,
The 45.1, the smaller one.
okay.
Okay, are we ready to move on, you think,
Well,
everybody?
my question is,
Or
how
not.
much, so we're in lieu of taxes, how much taxes are we talking?
Wickstrom owns the big one.
Gene, do you know or not?
You're going for it.
What's that?
Matt, do you have any idea?
I don't think the land has very much value. I don't think the tax bill's very big at all. It's just old.
Just to clean up some paperwork, it says.
That's 23 acres, by the way.
Right.
I'm sorry, what is the purpose of why are we doing all this?
They want us to eliminate their tax bill.
Well, there are outstanding taxes and charges, and this will clean that up, I think.
And there's some thoughts of recreation, like a river walk or something through there. This is all wetland.
Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't have much use. So do you think they're ever going to pay the taxes? No, they're never going to pay them. So we could go all through all the aggravation of taking it for tax title and everything else, so we could just accept the deed, and that's the best way to go.
Okay.
So it's to tidy it up.
The owner has offered the deed in lieu of taxes, is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
So we're never going to collect any
you're
taxes
never going to collect the
anyway.
taxes anyway, so.
Get it.
Might as well make it a
We
canoe
may-
launch.
Right, we may never be able to develop it because there might be hazardous material there, but at least we don't have to go through the financial strain of tax
Well,
taking.
get it to,
Right, and we could make a river walk.
not with,
Maybe.
Would be nice, maybe.
Are we ready to
Oh,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
talk about, okay.
She says hazardous cleanup. Well, isn't that going to cost us money? I mean, if
Well, yeah, if you do anything there. If there is, but Schuster used to,
Okay.
yeah,
Seems,
what I'm thinking.
So I'll just read again. Article 8, the motion is, the town vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to accept a deed in lieu of foreclosure under Mass General Laws, Chapter 60, Section 77C, for the parcel of land and buildings located at 67 Gilboa Street, and more specifically identified as Assessor's Map 138, Parcel 45, and to approve the satisfaction of any and all outstanding taxes, fees, and charges owed to the town related to said property.
Only owed to the town?
and to approve the satisfaction of any and all outstanding taxes, fees, and charges owed to the town.
Owed to the town. So if there were other fees they owed maybe to somebody else relating to this land, we would not take responsibility for them just because we took the deed, correct?
Do we know if there are any other liens on the property?
That's my question.
I'm sure that the town attorney will check that out before we accept it.
You can't transfer the deed if you have liens on it. Liens have to be satisfied.
Okay.
Well, yes, you can, but,
If you're willing to accept the lien.
but you do a title first, that's all.
We're not going
There weren't any.
Matt, is it fair to say that this basically is kind of a housekeeping thing to tie up this loose end? Is that fair or not?
No,
Or not?
I don't overcomplicate this. The town already owns 44,
Right.
Okay.
so there's a pond. And, you might have a little park there in that little parking lot, but it's to give you control over the water because you own the dam.
Okay.
Right, so it's, I know everybody gets excited about real estate transactions, but it has no value. It generates no
Right.
tax value. But control over it and the water that feeds the rest of the pond that butts up against our dam might be an interesting concept, if we're not going to lose any money on it.
Okay.
And it gets these people kind of off the roll. So this is a really long story. It involves some imprisonment, it involves not paying taxes, it involves a nasty divorce. It just kind of puts an end to it.
Okay.
Yeah, and we really don't want 45.1 if we can help it.
Any more questions on that, anybody? Someone move then that we recommend this to the town meeting?
I'll move to recommend it.
Okay, Carol, thank you.
Second.
Second by Lynn. Discussion, anybody? Ryan's got a furrowed brow over there.
I'm thinking.
Okay. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain?
I'm going to
Abstain.
abstain as well.
Okay, who abstains? So Ryan, Heather, Sandy abstains.
Confused corner, we'll call it.
And we've got
Or at least
4
I'm-
yeses. So 4 yeses and 3 abstentions. So if at the town meeting somebody says, why did those 3 FinCom people abstain? Be ready for an answer, everyone.
They're in the confused corner.
All right.
What are the funds for the Navy? Now we need an ocean to put it in.
All right, Article 9, I'll just read the motion. The town vote to transfer the sum of $4,540 from the sale of lots receipts reserved for appropriation account for the purpose of purchasing, identifying signage and accompanying mounting posts for Douglas Center Cemetery, Pine Grove Cemetery on Cemetery Street, and South Douglas Cemetery on South Street. So any comments or questions on Article 9, anybody? Look pretty clear to everyone?
Yeah.
Someone move then that we recommend this to the town meeting?
So moved.
Robert, thank you.
Second.
Brian, thank you. Discussion, anybody? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstain, motion carries 7-0. All right, so the next 3 are all of a demolition nature, and notice that they all are amounts from free cash. So let's just take these one at a time. So Article 10, the motion is the town vote to transfer the sum of $50,000 from free cash for the demolition of structures located at 19 Main Street, parcel 198-4, including environmental remediation, demolition, and disposal costs. And I think if you guys can visualize that, it's structurally unsound and poses a risk to public safety. But any comments or questions on Article 10?
Yeah, I think that's the old building that's near the cemetery. And, it's old, it's been there a long time. I'm sure it has asbestos, I'm sure it has lead, I'm sure it has all the bad things you're not supposed to have. So we're going to have to do a remediation and get rid of it. And the prices of those things are going up by the day. And then trying to get rid of these things is this whole stuff is going up. And then the town owns it. If anybody goes in there and falls down, I know we have insurance, but, who knows? I say get rid of it. Of course, I've been trying to say to get rid of it for a long time. article. I think that really should go. And then it's a nice little piece of land next to the cemetery, and I think it should go. So I recommend, I will vote for the $50,000 or whatever it may cost to take this thing down.
All right, any other discussion or questions on Article 10?
This is the brown building by the soccer fields, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Carol, you want to move that we recommend it to the town meeting?
I recommend that to the town meeting.
Okay. Second by Sandy, thank you. So Carol moves, Sandy seconds. Any discussion, anybody? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries unanimously. So Article 11 is Shore Road, and I've been doing a little bit of research into this, so I thought I'd try to summarize it in a little paragraph. So see what you think, everybody. After years of litigation concerning zoning and building code violations at this property, the legal process has concluded. The courts have issued a final demolition order, and all appeals have been exhausted. This article authorizes the town to proceed with demolition in order to resolve this long-standing issue and ensure the property is brought into compliance with town regulations. How does that sound?
Need some dramatic music in the background for that.
So I think the court case on that is at least 10 years old, and appeals and things have run their course. And so Matt and I talked about this the other day. Can you just refresh everybody's memory or the process of if we sort of front the money to pay for it, right?
Yes,
then,
under procurement law, I can't let out a contract unless I have the funds.
And then there's a mechanism for us to get the money back.
So I did circulate to the Finance Committee and the Select Board to remind people of the judgment. The court has specifically authorized a lien that is authorized by Chapter 139, Section 39A of the general laws, which is so it's a demolition lien, and if it's not paid, it can be grossed into the tax bill. And if you ignore your tax bills, you can have some problems with different things that you want to do. But it's one way to get satisfaction on the cost of the demolition. I don't think this thing will be anywhere near 50 grand, but any money that's not used gets turned back to the town. It's just to have, just enough in case there's an issue with disposal or whatnot. But
Okay. You had any questions on Shore Drive? Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that building. It's not a hazard. It doesn't belong to the town, so if something does happen there, we're not going to get sued on it. I don't know why we should put off money to take this thing down. If we got a lien on it, well, what good is it if the piece of land obviously can't be built on? So where's the value of it? So we're going to be putting out $50,000 on this. And I actually ran into Mr. Tessino the other day, and they would like to move it off of there. The problem that they have right now is they have an estate that is tied up tighter than a drum with everybody suing everybody else, that nobody can move anything. So I don't see why leaving it there another year or so is going to make any difference, and I can't see a town paying any money to do that. Let them pick it up and move it out of there when they can settle the estate, and they can do that.
I think the idea, Carol, is that we get that money back.
Where are we going to get it back? Who's going to give it back to us?
If you don't pay your taxes, then repercussions follow.
You put a lien on the property. What good is a piece of property that you can't build on?
it's worth a lot to the abutter.
Oh, so the abutter's pushing it.
No, I didn't say that. You came up with that just now. But all land is worth money, and you know that. And you also know that the abutter on either side would want it, because the abutter on the other side is Commonwealth of Massachusetts. But if I could pick this land up for 20 grand, so I could have a place to park my car, put 4 kayaks and 6 kids, I'm buying it. You're not going to lose a dime on this.
The thing is, I can't see any reason to do it.
It's
Why don't-
because you
why
litigated
don't
as a
you-
town for 14 years,
Yeah,
and you won.
and
You won.
your
So
building inspector gave a permit for it to begin with.
the building permit was vacated by the court. The building commissioner that issued it was cited and fined by the Ethics Commission for violating the rules of ethics because she lived in other homes that Mr. Tassino put her in. So this is a long history, but the fact of the matter is, your select board has pursued litigation for 14 years. Your zoning board ordered this house demolished 10 years ago, and you won. You won. All the appeals are exhausted. So now the land court is tapping the table, wondering when the town of Douglas is going to use the authority she gave us.
Have they been sending us letters on that?
Bylinski has filed for contempt
Oh, he's filed for contempt.
because he's the party to the suit.
All right, anybody else, comments or questions on this?
How much did we
Sandy?
lose in lawyer fees?
Is it more or less than 50,000?
Yeah, probably more than that.
So, you may not know this, but the counsel that tried this case was paid a flat fee, monthly.
How
So-
much was that?
So the flat fee wasn't tied to the litigation. The flat fee was the council's fee to be our land counsel every month.
Okay.
It went up over the years, but from 2,500 to 3,500 a month.
All right, would somebody move then that we recommend this to the town?
So moved.
Okay, Sandy, second.
Second.
Brian? Any more discussion on the motion? Again, we're just making a recommendation to the town meeting. It's ultimately up to the town meeting, so. Okay, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
I'm opposed.
Okay, any abstentions? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yes, 1 no, 1 abstention. Okay. So you guys be ready to explain yourselves at the town meeting if somebody asks, okay?
I think Carol's ready.
Carol's not going to have any trouble.
I never have any trouble.
All right, and then demolition of 104 Main Street. I didn't quite know where that was, but it's the red brick building that's off the road a bit. There's a driveway to it, I think, right, Matt? And there's a gate. So the motion is that the town vote to transfer the sum of $200,000 from free cash for the demolition of structures located at 104 Main Street, parcel 171-24, including environmental remediation, demolition, and disposal costs. So Matt, could you give a real quick backstory to that?
Yeah, I'll try as best I can. I know we gave a tour to Selectman Fitzpatrick today because he likes to look at our buildings. But I've been in and out of this building quite a few times in the last 5 or 6 years. And it was originally, it's a cinder block building with a brick facade and a flat roof with a membrane and a parapet, a masonry parapet.
What's it near? Trying to picture it.
It's the old pipeline?
It's the old pipeline building. So if you're on Main Street and you're going by, is that Mike Cahill's house is that way? There's a little field there with a stand of short pine trees, and there's a brick building in the back and 3 or 4 smaller outbuildings. One's a crane, outdoor crane. The others were basically electrical switches for all the valves and pumps in the pipeline.
So this is the land we bought for $400,000 before you arrived, right?
I signed it, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, the transaction wasn't complete until after I started here. So this was a joint effort between the Water Commission and the town used funds it had received from the MTBE litigation.
Right.
And so they're not really taxpayer funds, they're from the judgment, but the town had control over those funds. And the transaction wasn't completed until I signed all the documents. This ridiculously thick thing. There's environmental regulations on it. More to do with the pipeline than the building. The building, at one point, might have been usable because it was, it's a slab building. There was some carpeting. It was an office building, and it was used until the 80s or early 90s, if I'm not mistaken. And it has 3-phase power that runs to it. So I hate to waste things, but the roof leaks. So if I'm looking up at the front door of the building and I'm looking to the back that's nearest the street, there's a corner where the water all kind of rolls off this membrane roof, and then it piles up behind the parapet because it doesn't drain anywhere. And it has found a leak, and now it has leaked into the corner, and then it spreads out on the floor because the slab doesn't let the water go, so the rug absorbs it and pushes it back towards the front door. So the last time we opened the door to this thing, I got knocked over by the smell of mold, and it's really just completely starting to fall apart, and all the masonry pointing is pretty much gone. The mortar's gone from the corner. So the question isn't an objective, could some person miraculously resurrect the building? That's not the issue. The question presented is, does this building ever pose any useful purpose for the town? And would the cost of rehab be justified in light of modern codes and the other things that we have to do to make it a usable space? And I don't think the answer is yes. The answer is no. And we're paying insurance on it as a vacant building. The electricity is still running to the transformer outside, so it hums really loud. Three-phase transformer is really loud. So there's just some issues here with safety and whether or not we want to continue to be carrying liability on a building like this that's fallen apart. I'd rather us all focus on a couple of historic buildings we have and putting together the resources to make them really useful for the taxpayers of the town rather than doing this. So that's why I put it on here. It's also, frankly, because if you add these things up, this becomes an interesting contract to put out for a demo outfit to be in town for a few days and pick up three jobs.
And you thought that 200,000
is way over.
Could be on the high side.
It's way over. But what I don't know is what I'm afraid of, right? I've never taken samples. I've never sent anything away. And you have to do all that before you can demolish a building this old. So in case we find something that was unpleasant, put quite a bit more in here than is probably going to be needed. But I don't want to have to come back and say, whoopsie-doo, I didn't know there was asbestos in the caulking or whatever silly thing.
So the money gets turned back to...
If we come in under, the money would get turned back to free cash, yeah.
Okay, any more questions on Article 12, anybody? Okay, would someone move, we recommend this to the town meeting?
So moved.
Lynn, thank you. Second by Rob. Any more discussion on the motion? So the motion is that we recommend Article 12 to the town meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries unanimously. So thank you, everybody, for...
You done?
So, Rob, what was the one that you abstained on again?
It was Article 7, the zoning bylaw for the warehouse. For the warehouse.
And what was the one that you three guys abstained on?
Article 8.
Next one.
Okay, 3 abstentions on Article 8.
And there was 1 abstention on Article 11.
Yeah. And 1 no on Article.
And one no.
Yeah. All right, look at your agendas, everybody. Town administrator report. So, Matt, do you have anything for us tonight?
It's late, so I'll be quick. The conversation with BVT is a really good one, and I didn't want to interject in your questions and their presentation to you. It's really worth sitting through the full presentation of the lottery system to understand how it works. Because really, from the town of Douglas is so totally overrepresented in this school that no matter how they do it, it's going to bring things back to a rational basis. Fundamentally, this is a major change in the rights and obligations of every member of the BVT agreement. And, if you want to be formal about it, you could say this really should have been done through the amendment process. But I don't think you ever would have gotten the votes because Dr. Fitzpatrick resisted the notion of having his admissions policy driven by demographics. He wanted to be driven by his own personal method. But now that DESE has weighed in, I'm very optimistic that in the medium to long term, this will really help the town of Douglas a lot. My only concern is fiscal '27, because I'm not convinced yet that their formula is going to work out exactly as they think it is. And the reasoning is twofold. One is, I'm interested in what the updated enrollment figures from this October will show us. I'm privy to their own numbers, and I think, and I'm happy to be wrong, but I think we have 25 seniors at BVT. So if their goal is to admit 29, then my budget has to have 4 additional students at BVT plus the assessment, the underlying assessment. So I'm budgeting those 4 kids.
I'm sorry, where do you get 29? The other class is closer to 40?
Correct.
Okay.
Their target's going to be 29.
Okay.
And that's, I'm not the first person to say that in this very chair. So Superintendent Vieira sat here a few days ago because he got the same briefing I did. He said 28 because Paul saw 28. It's 28.9. So I rounded up to 29.
I go to 29 because the second part of this, if I may interject, is if they exhaust, another town doesn't say a shop has an opening, they can pull from Douglas to get their additional
Now, what I'm,
quota goes up.
we did pursue that scenario. There are so many kids applying from every single town that they have the depth in the applicant pool to not have to draw from Douglas. That's so we're doing.
One can hope. Some
Right.
shops are not as popular as others.
Yeah, exactly.
But I thought the kids didn't decide the shop until they go through 3 or 4 and then they pick one.
You can still come in. So if they're under-enrolled
Yeah.
and you're on the wait list and you pursue, you can go to BVT.
Yeah, so there are openings that open up in the upper classes during the year.
First year, second year, you can even go by junior year, you're pretty locked. But
Still get in.
you can still
Oh,
get
I didn't
in.
know
But they took 40 last year. So if they take 29, that at least means I'm not looking at a 30-something% increase in the BVT assessment. It's just that this is the one year where we were low. And I remember this, because when those kids were freshmen, it was the first time in a long time the BVT budget wasn't level, but it was within reason that year. It went up like 3.5%. So I'm cautiously optimistic. 3 or 4 kids. So I said twofold. The second thing that I just can't get my head wrapped around it because it's so counter to everything I've heard about everything. A 5% on health insurance? Bleep, no way.
That's why I
no.
told them, I'm like, and I'm sorry, Lynn, I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
But there's no way it's 5%.
We've got the most, and so I asked him the other day, I said, what's your loss ratio? Right? What are you running at, 50%? Like, nobody gets sick where you are, everybody eats granola every day, and everybody's just like doing jumping jacks? So I don't know what in the world that conversation is. I'd love to sit in and listen to it, and look at the numbers, but if the town of Douglas, which has a relatively strong track record in terms of our data, we now own 7 years worth of our data. If we took a 12 and we're looking at another 12, and the town of Sutton next door to us took a 24 all in 1 year, how in the world does this shop stay at 5?
Yeah, they're just.
So I'm just not, I'm not believing it. But if anything remotely resembles rationality, it would be a blessing. I think, though, that they've made a sincere and thoughtful effort to address this, and it makes sense. I know that 2 towns that will have the most ground to make up are Milford and Grafton, and Grafton's not going to like it. And because they never answered my phone calls when we were getting pounded, I'm probably not going to answer theirs when it comes to this. Because I'm sorry, folks, but you got away with this for a long time, and it's just the way it is.
So how do you think Grafton's going to be pounded? What do you mean?
They're way, way underrepresented.
But I mean, are they going to have more students brought in? Okay,
And they have budget constraints.
That's how the lottery's going to work.
They did pink slips last year for Grafton School, so they're under.
They did pink tips for what?
For the school district, so they're underfunded.
Oh, you mean they laid off teachers? Okay.
Yeah.
But couldn't we use this as an opportunity to try to get to the agreement again? Because there's 4 who didn't want the new fund, right? If now Grafton and Milford are upset, they're probably not part of the 4, right?
I don't think Milford will be upset.
I don't think
because
Milford
they
cares.
wanted more. They've been wanting more.
Been
for
wanting
years.
more.
They've been wanting to get more kids into the school?
Yes.
Yeah,
Somehow we
I've
got to get
given
to
up-
open that, and get enough people upset to get to that agreement to make it,
I think you're 2 years away from that.
okay.
Yeah. But the other thing is, would you still be that upset if your number starts to come down to your true representation of kids?
I liked what you
Matt?
said about that program and that potentially helping the.
So we digress. I wanted to be brief.
Yeah.
I'm at 10 minutes. I'm confident we can have a preliminary budget submission to you in the holidays, because I'm working on it now. It's probably a good 2 months earlier than I've ever done it, just because I'm concerned about it, but because a lot of the information's coming in early. So we're in a little bit better spot.
From the state, too?
No, not from the state, just the way we're running. And I want to address, through the chair, Carol's comment. You know, we said no new heads, if you remember the
Yeah.
debate around the override. And with the end of that override period, which was about 5 years, and you had economic development, and you created some additional resources, we added 3 heads. A second school resource officer, an allocation of funds to the fire department that would allow them to have paramedic only. It's basically the equivalent of 1 FTE. And then, as John Furno says, got my 6th guy back after 20 years of chasing it and being promised. And it worked out. We had all 6 of those slots filled at Highway, and then we asked for a facilities manager, and town meeting approved that, right? The budget was approved, the position was approved on the table. But as a matter of budgeting, we didn't have the resources to fill facilities manager, so I didn't fill it. Position's still approved, it's still on the table, but it's not in the budget. And the same thing happened now with the 6th person at the Highway. I think the SRO is essential. I want to have 2 school resource officers. Just think as a matter of our internal security discussions, that was really vital.
Is that a policeman?
Police officer.
Okay.
And during the summer,
Yeah.
they're here
Yeah, right.
on the road
Right.
in the summertime. So it works out nicely for us. And as far as stabilizing the head count and the level of service we provide through the fire and ambulance department, that extra money that went there was really, really well spent. We have 2 folks that are medic only, they're paramedics, but we're able to keep an ALS engine on the road 24/7. And if you notice, the conversation with the district attorney was here today handing out awards to Douglas Police and Fire for the level of service. So that, those are the last places I want to go. And since one of the highway workers had left, there was a vacancy. So I wasn't laying anybody off. I just am not filling the position in this budget. It still puts me a couple $100,000 in flux. We got a certification of free cash, not free cash, of new growth that was a little bit higher than I had in the budget. I had 246. We came in with 276. It's still kind of a low number. We've been running much hotter than that for new growth, but gives you a sense that things slow down a little bit in the economy, and all of our commercial projects are really big projects. We don't have folks building 10,000 square foot workshops and developing this. We get one, you've seen Mr. O'Leary's building go up, but we just haven't had a whole lot of that. So when we look for commercial development, we're looking at the big price or nothing. So we're at the cusp of seeing a really big project come through, and I think that's going to allow us to have escaped a lot of the pressures that a lot of the other municipalities in our area are facing, and they really are facing them. So that's pretty much all I have for the Finance Committee. I don't want
So
to,
Matt, if we wanted to have a joint meeting with the select board to talk about the lottery, is that something I should just work out with Lisa somehow, or would it be them coming to us, or we going to select board, or?
well, you both meet on Tuesdays.
We'll
So
work it
there's this
out.
lull here in between fall town meeting and the run-up to the budget. So might be a good time in December.
Would that interest some of you to go to a meeting with the select board?
Well, I thought it was explained in the last select board meeting pretty well. If anybody listened to
Yeah,
that last
I did.
select board meeting. It was explained how they were going to do it.
Well, we'll figure something
Oh,
out.
so you can just listen to it on the select board's meeting?
Yes,
That
yeah.
sounds good.
Okay, any questions for Matt, anybody, before he
I
heads
do
south?
have
Okay.
one comment on this report that you handed out. I know everybody keeps mentioning that we're limited by Proposition 2.5, like that 2.5 cap, but I'm wondering, it's number one and number two, that the state aid in Massachusetts is less generous than the U.S. average. So that's number one. And then the flexible state aid through UGGA has fallen for all cities and towns for the state of Massachusetts. But yet, we're like number 9 as far as like state income tax over the whole country. So what pressure are we putting back on the state to say, give us more money, because you can't be raising taxes anymore on the people. We're already struggling by groceries. And yet, they're collecting more taxes than most, but they're giving us far less. What pressures are we putting on our state?
Pretty much constantly. So we have meetings with different people from the governor's office and then through so we're kind of preaching to the choir with our
Right, yeah.
delegation to the General Assembly.
Right.
But a couple of years back, we were getting shorted on pilot. So we pursued conversation about pilot. And then we, as I mentioned in other meetings, you get a whole lot more Chapter 70 than just about any other community in Massachusetts on a per pupil basis. So it's one of those things, be careful what you complain of, because you're going to draw attention to your own highly unusual status.
Right.
Now, it would be better if they fully funded unrestricted general government assistance. So that's UGA, the unfortunate name for it. Governor Baker steadily increased UGA every year that he was in office, and we were used to seeing it go up 8% or so every year because he made it a priority to fund municipal assistance, general revenue sharing with the municipalities. This administration has had different priorities, so UGA has been kind of flat. It hasn't gone down, but it's been kind of flat. So we don't look at that as a growth account anymore. If you add up our Chapter 70, our UGA, our pilot, you're still at 40% of your revenues coming from the state. So I don't want to shock anyone or make anybody much afeared, but if we had the same level of Chapter 70 assistance as Sutton or some of the other communities, your tax bill would be so high you wouldn't even know what to think. Yeah. So I'm just try not to jinx the town of Douglas. The
Pilot's the state forest, right?
Yeah. Any state-owned land. That includes wildlands, so, long story.
Okay, yeah.
I think the bigger issue for us, when you look at it, is you have this highly unusual amount of Chapter 61 land, so it's private property that's in conservation, basically forest protection. And it's thousands of acres, right? And you get nothing. It's valued at like $1,600 an acre, and it's not generating any revenue for the town. So what you have left is about 67% of the real estate in the community is participating in the real estate tax. And that's just not very much.
I'm curious, if that 61A was owned by the state, would we be better off with pilot, or what we get off is what we get on the 61A?
At the moment,
Yeah.
with the current math,
Yeah.
you'd be better off with the state owning it all.
Really?
Not a whole heck of a lot
Yeah,
better
right.
off. Right, because pilot's not fully funded,
Yeah.
but you would be better off. It's a strange thing to say, but
Because I remember
I'm-
when they took all that stuff up on the Webster line, boy, we got a lot less money than what we were getting from taxes off of it.
so I don't want to belabor the point, but pilot is a bunch of money, the legislature puts it there, and then they divide it up by who has the share of all of that public land. So if the Commonwealth makes a really big purchase in Warren or Royalston or something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that of hundreds of acres,
Yeah.
Royalston's share of the pie just got bigger, and Douglas's share of the pie got smaller.
Got it. 'Cause the pie doesn't get any bigger as they
Pie
get
doesn't
more
get
land.
bigger, it
Oh,
doesn't
okay.
outgrow as fast as our
Zero sum,
cash
right?
does.
I'm just surprised that the towns aren't complaining about that, not just us.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to emphasize that it's about all we do. And we get to the point where if, I don't want to use colloquial words, but if you squawk too much, you know,
Yeah, right. You bring it-
at some point, people stop listening to you. So we try to couch all the squawking we do in terms of really specific issues, so that we're not on the, what's the group, the watchdog group that does so much of this reporting? It's the Massachusetts
Fiscal Alliance?
Fiscal Alliance. We don't want to be, we like a lot of things they say. We don't want to always be fellow travelers with them, because if you bite the hand that feeds you, then yeah, it's kind
All right, anything else for Matt, anybody?
of, my apologies for wearing my Halloween costume. We had
Okay.
trick or treat here in the town hall. I don't know, we probably had, 5 dozen kids or so, I don't know, 5 dozen people.
What are you supposed to be?
I'm not telling you. If you can't tell.
You can't have your costume. That's your costume?
Well, my cloak is in the car and my staff is in my office.
Oh, you like a wizard or something?
Well, possibly. I could
Okay,
be
we're gonna-
riding the hedge, so they speak.
John Charbonneau came in with his, and he said, I wore this when I was...
You terrified all the kids. They all went running down the hall.
When I was in Rutland, I said, is that why you're in Douglas?
Right.
What's he wearing?
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Matt, appreciate
I
it.
don't know. It was...
Okay, everybody, we got a few more things to do.
With a mask on, it was weird.
I thought maybe you had the day off today, Matt, and you just came in for the meeting and like,
No, I took my kids came here, I took them over to my mom's and came back.
You would think
Gene, do we
so.
all
They
have
were
to sign these?
trick-or-treating, They would have brought candy
Matt.
for us.
good night, Matt.
Okay, guys, I'm going to pass 2 things around to sign, and while we do that, we'll wrap things up here, so Rob, can you hand it to Carol after you sign it?
You got it.
All right, let's look at the May 5 minutes. You can see the corrected version. I actually watched the tape again and then
I
sent
did
it.
too. The ghost, Rob accused the ghost of me to be the one objecting. I was like, I wasn't there.
I knew it wasn't me, I just wasn't sure who.
Some male in the group.
Some male in the group.
So any questions on the May 5 minutes, anybody?
All right, what's up here?
Can we have a motion to accept them as written?
So moved.
Thank you, Lynn. Seconded by
Second.
Heather. Thank you. Discussion? So all in favor of approving May 5 minutes as written, say aye.
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 Aye, sorry.
Opposed?
No, I'm sorry.
Opposed? Abstain,
I'm going to
anybody?
abstain. I lost focus while I was signing, Dick. I apologize. I was not there, so I will.
So Rob abstained.
No, I abstained.
Don't say it
This
was
one is
me that
me.
abstained.
Sorry. Ryan abstained. You got to get it right. And then the most recent one's October 14. Any discussion on those minutes? Any questions? Okay, motion to approve as written.
Motion.
Rob,
Spot.
seconded by
Go probably your pen, I only have a pencil.
Heather.
Heather. Thank you. Discussion on the October 14
So
minutes,
will I
anybody?
still be with that now?
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain?
I'll abstain.
Okay. Ryan abstains. That motion. Right, so the next meeting, everybody, is going to be at 6:30 before the special town meeting. I will not be there, actually. I have a family commitment I have to take care of, but Rob will chair. since he's our vice chairman. And if there are any questions from the floor during the meeting, Rob, you can handle them, I guess.
Absolutely.
Unless Carol feels a real need to stand up and talk. But
I'll just point to Carol and let her go.
do all of you plan on being at the special town meeting?
Yes.
Some people tell me they're amused by what I say, so.
You may want to get there early to get us, well, you have the meeting, of course, but it's
Right.
going to be packed, I think, so.
Yes.
All right, anybody else have anything we?
Was that the woman who just left, was she
Yep.
part of the?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Anybody have any issues?
We just signed for the State Finance Committee our dues.
Yeah.
Do they still offer, like, do they have, they must still have the conference?
Yeah, they do. I
Might be-
went,
I don't know if you, I went when I first started.
I went last year.
I actually found it helpful.
Oh, I think-
Might be-
oh, Up at the Holy Cross, right?
We did that, too. That
Yeah.
was something else,
That
I
was
think.
something else? Okay.
Yeah, we did that together, and then, and there was there was one with all kind, it was a Saturday, it was what's
Did
the
everybody sign it, by the
tech
way?
school over
I
in
think so.
Franklin?
Here we go.
The folk school. That's where it was. And it was an all-day, and then they had, they had open discussion, and then they had 3 or 4 panels in the morning, and you could choose which one you wanted to go to.
What's the name?
We just signed the bill for it.
Massachusetts Association of State Finance Committees or something, but I can talk to you about that, too.
Okay.
There were 2 spelling mistakes that I caught in the October 14 minutes, which I told our minute keeper about already. So I never think about it. All right, we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Sandy beat you.
Oh, okay.
Carol seconds. Discussion?
Aye. There's no discussion.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? We adjourn at 8:55.